Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, new comics this week. Okay, so I'm going to shoot this video in two parts. The first part is going to be me talking about or giving kind of reviews of a few of the comic books I bought last week. And then the second part, I'll show you the comic books I bought this week. Okay, so here we go. Hey everybody, okay, so the first comic is Black Cloud number 3. From Jason Latour, Ivan Brandon, and Greg Hinkle. So far, I've been enjoying this comic. Basically, the premise is the main character, I guess, has the power to go to, I guess, the dream world or the fantasy world or something like that. And our kind of hustle is she'll take people from the regular world or our world and she'll take them over to the dream world so they can have a little experience or adventure or whatever, and then brings them back. And that's kind of how she hustles up money and stuff like that. Things go wrong because she has taken the son of a prominent politician there, and things have kind of gone wrong, and she may have lost him or something like that. So she's kind of on the run in the dream world. She's kind of on the run in the regular world. There's other people who just simply don't like her, and then there's this whole thing where I guess she's, excuse me, kind of broken the rules or whatever. So she's got those issues going on. Plus, she also has kind of personality and self-confidence issues that she has to deal with as well. So it's kind of an interesting comic for me. It's kind of intriguing. I've been enjoying it so far. Like I said, it's a hard comic book to kind of describe, but I think I'm going to stick with it for a while, at least for the next few issues or so. Like I said, really interesting art here, nice coloring. I think it really works as far as giving you this kind of otherworldly and dreamlike feel to it. And Jason Latour is doing some really interesting stuff recently. There's this comic. There was the oh shit, what was it called? The crime comic he was doing before. Then of course he's doing Southern Bastards with Jason Aaron. So Jason Latour. Okay, yeah. All right. Defenders #1. Brian Michael Bendis, David Marquez, and who's the colorist here? Panzur? Yeah, Justin Panzur. Okay, basically it's a setup for the origin of the all-new Defenders. We've got our various little heroes here, and they've all been randomly attacked by a villain named Diamondback, and they're not too sure why he's targeting them, but they figure like, hey, you know, we need to kind of team up and find out what's going on. It looks like this guy is trying to kind of take over the streets or something and wants to get rid of the heroes or whatever, get rid of these guys or whatever, because they're more, you know, there's people who would actually notice the type of crimes that he commits. I guess that's what's going on. So it's an okay comic book. You know, you get that kind of modern pacing, whatever. Like I said, it's just mostly set up, but there's enough plot there to kind of wet your whistle to wonder what's going on next. I'll probably give it the, I'll buy at least the next issue and then probably decide if I want to continue with it or not. The art is okay. It's just okay. It's not good, not bad. Well, it's not bad, but it's not super thrilling. It doesn't blow me away or anything. Oh, this thing I think is very interesting. Here's Jessica Jones, right? And if you notice, as Jessica Jones is being used more and more in various comics and she's being drawn by different artists, The character's gotten a lot more attractive lately. She looks very different than, well, depending on who's drawing her. Some people draw her very differently than the way that Alex Maleev draws her in her normal comic. The way Alex Maleev draws her, she's supposed to be kind of sort of plain looking, except for in the flashbacks to her when she was Jewel, an actual superhero. Uh, but recently, when other artists draw her, they draw a lot more. She seems to be a lot more modeled on the actress that plays her on the TV show, to the point of her hair is actually a lot darker. Her clothes are a little bit tighter. She's a little bit skinnier, and like I said, a little bit more glamorous by default. Um, I don't have a problem with that or anything like that. I just think it's an interesting thing, though. Okay. Next, Bugs number 2 by the Alred family. I enjoyed this comic, but I'm in a weird place with it. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but it's very wacky, it's very zany, very postmodern, very metatextual. Just to describe the plot, Bug is stuck in some sort of time loop, and he ends up back in the 40s, and so he ends up teaming up with uh, these guys, these World War II era heroes. So you get Sandman, his sidekick Sandy, the Golden Age Blue Beetle, and the Losers. And the thing is, these are all characters, not these characters weren't all created by Jack Kirby, but they were characters that Jack Kirby has drawn at one point or another in his career. So, you have the whole thing of Bug, who is a Jack Kirby creation, teaming up with other characters that Jack Kirby has drawn. Oh, and they also had these characters here. Let me find it for you. Here, the Bazooka Boys. I don't think the Bazooka Boys ever actually had their own comic. I think they're there as kind of a homage to like the Boy Commandos, which was like kind of a kid gang comic that Jack Kirby and Joe Simon did. Matter of fact, I think they did a few of those. They did like the Boy Commandos. There was one like Boys Ranch or Kids Ranch or something like that. But I think that's what these guys are supposed to be, kind of an homage to those characters. Anyway, the rest of the plot has to do with all these guys teaming up to fight some evil robots. There's stuff in there about abominable snowmen and just some zany, crazy ass stuff. Like I said, it's all very meta, very postmodern stuff like that, and I enjoyed it enough. It's good enough to say that I liked it, but I don't know if I would give this comic book to somebody who's new to comics. You know what I mean? Like I said, I kind of get some of the inside gags, but if somebody said, "Hey, Ed, what's a good Jack Kirby comic to draw or to read, or what's something that's Jack Kirby influenced you would recommend?" I wouldn't give him this comic. I'd either give him a real Jack Kirby comic or John Byrne's Fantastic Four or Walt Simonson's Thor or something like that. But okay. Next thing, Betty and Veronica number 3. This comic is like very late, but that's okay. We get some really good art by Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes also did the story here. Just to explain the plot, basically, uh, Veronica Lodge's family has just come to town, or yeah, I guess they've just come to town. Well, it doesn't matter. What matters is Veronica Lodge's father has bought this coffee chain, and he wants to buy out Pops and put Pops out of business and put this coffee chain in its place, Pop's Malt Shop, where Archie and Jughead and the whole gang hang out. And Betty decides that, well, we need to save Pops. So there's this whole thing where they do all sorts of um, little projects to try to raise money to save Pops, and it's getting closer and closer to the deadline. And the deadline is going to take place on Halloween at the big Harvest Fall Festival that's going to be happening at the high school gym and la di da di da. And hijinks and zaniness and tomfoolery and wackiness ensue. I remember reading somewhere where Adam Hughes said that writing this comic book, he was going to try to channel his inner Saved by the Bell, and I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, it's very corny. It's very corny and silly and campy and goofy or whatever. But for the most part, I think it works as that type of material. My only thing is there's gags in here that you're just not going to get unless you're like way over 40. There's a few references in the dialogue to stuff like the first Planet of the Apes movie. There's a gag toward the end where somebody brings up Mammoth, David Mamet. Well, they don't even say David Mamet. They just say Mamet, but I get how it's used. They're talking about David Mamet. And it's like, I don't know if a teenager reading this comic would get that or even care. I mean, David Mamet is this guy who writes screenplays and stage plays about middle-aged people who swear a lot and are disappointed with life and critical of society and things like that. You know what I mean? Like what 16-year-old would care about such thing? Are 16-year-olds out there watching Glengarry Glen Ross? Are 16-year-olds out there watching American Buffalo and stuff like that? So I mean that's fine, whatever. But I mean I get it. But again, I'm a middle-aged man. But anyway, that's fine. But like I said, you got some really nice artwork here. It's kind of interesting that they went for these kind of muted color tones or whatever. But I am a big, big fan of Adam Hughes' art. Oh, here's another funny gag that I'll go ahead and give away. Well, it's not funny, but we're getting meta again at the high school dance at the Harvest Festival or whatever. The theme is going to be 1941, and we're just gonna go have a nostalgia thing. And here you have Mr. Weatherby going, "Hard to believe it's been 75 years." And you've got Betty talking about, "What are you talking about? I'm only 16." Of course, the gag is Archie comics have been around for roughly 75 years. So there you go. Oh, and this is a pretty funny thing too. The characters are wearing older clothes, and you look closely, Archie, Betty, Veronica, the whole gang are basically wearing the type of things, or wearing exactly what the original artist Bob Montana would draw them wearing. So, okay, so that's pretty much it. But like I said, I did enjoy it. Like I said, I had that little comment there. It's like, I don't know if this is really, a lot of the Archie comic revamps, they're obviously trying to go after that younger audience, kids who watch the CW and stuff like that. But this comic book here, I think it's actually really aimed at middle-aged, nostalgic people. So whatever, nothing wrong with that. But okay, so that's it. I'm going to go out now, run a few errands, and actually buy some new comics. And when I come back, I'll show you the new comics I got. All right, thanks. Okay, so I'm back. So now I'll show you some of the comic books that I bought this week at the comic book store. This cup has margaritas left over from yesterday. Cheers. Okay. Invisible Iron Man number 8. Spunky Girl Heroes. US Avengers number 7. Spunky Boy and Girl Heroes who fight to protect the industrial military complex. I think we're going to start crossing over. Yeah, this one obviously is crossing over to the whole Secret Empire thing. Luke Cage, number 2. Odyssey of the Amazons, number 6. This is not a good cover. You have to look really, really hard to see what's going on. If I hold it back like this, it's like, what? But it's basically a woman holding a giant sword, and half her face is obscured, and you can't tell, the colors are all muddy, and this really isn't a good cover, I don't think. Alright, anyway. Aquaman number 25. I've heard decent things about Rebirth Aquaman, and I was kind of on the fence about whether or not I should check it out. But now the artist is, I can never say his name, but Stefan Sichik. And I actually do like his work on Sunstone, so I decided to go ahead, pull the trigger, and give it a go. Tank Girl, World War Tank Girl, number 3. Shaolin Cowboy, number 3. I'm looking forward to really digging into this. Black Hammer, number 10. Really looking forward to reading this. Girl Scouts Magic Socks, number 2. This is Black Monday Murders, number 6. Again, really look forward to digging into this comic. I know I'm going to have to read it 2 or 3 times to understand what's going on, but it's worth the effort, I think. Bitch Planet Triple Feature, number 1. And I guess the ideal is these are stories set in the Bitch Planet universe, written by people other than Kelly Sue DeConnick. And then I've got Wildstorm, number 5. This is another Jim Lee cover. I actually really like this. I'm assuming this is Zealot with all of her guns and things. So, okay then. All right, so that's it. I got to thank everybody for watching, and everybody have a good day. Thank you.